he was a promising kid. I remember watching him compete. We took him down to the Santa Barbara Pan Ams, and I think we let him borrow a blue belt to do the tournament. And I think he might have done okay. I don't think he medaled or anything, but he went. And Evan is a great guy. He's got a very strong work ethic. He can stay with it. Good skill, good wrestling background, good strength. I remember, he had his first fight at a roller skating rink in Springfield. He ended up winning, and he's just been strong in the martial arts all the way through. He was at our gym. I don't remember if we ever charged him. I don't think that we did. Maybe in the beginning, but the deal was with the cage fighters was that, if they were to do fights and they represented the gym, then it was free of charge as long as they represented the gym and put the word out. So I'm almost positive we did that with him. I don't remember, it was a while ago, but from there he had a couple more fights and a couple more, and was just kind of gradually climbing the ladder. And he was working out with a lot of the other guys at the gym. I don't take full credit for being the one that only trained Evan by any means. I feel like I gave him a good opportunity and a home to train with everybody so that he could make it happen. Really was, I think, probably more than anything, my part. Definitely, for sure. I mean, showing him jiu-jitsu and doing that sort of thing. But he's had different coaches and different training partners and the other guys that train with him, and just putting in flight time, training together. And it wasn't necessarily always with me, but I do feel like what made him get to the level he was at was just the open door. Like he always had a place to train. He had a home. And try and give him as much as he needed. Whatever he needed, we try and help him out and keep him going, and he eventually made it. I remember the day that I heard he got the call from the UFC and he was in. Everybody was just like, no way, Evan made it to the UFC, and I couldn't believe it. I was so happy for him. He finally made it, and then shortly after, just moved to Vegas to training down there, which is a good move. He needs to be in that environment where he's constantly getting challenged and pushed by other high-level fighters. He's just not really going to get that in Eugene over and over again. So he's had a good run. And he's been. I think he's had maybe 7 fights in the UFC or something like that. I don't know the exact number, but he's had some really good dominant wins, and then he's had some hard losses. So that's the life of a cage fighter. So. But Evan's hung in there really, really good. He's got a great personality, he's just all around great guy. He's a family guy. He's got his wife and his kids now, and his one daughter, and I haven't seen him for a while, but he's a good guy. Yeah, strong work ethic, Evan, for sure.
What do you think the UFC has done for jiu-jitsu and in general the martial arts? You think it's been a benefit? You think it's been
I think it's been a benefit.
Yeah,
I think it's definitely been a benefit. Most people now are getting to know mixed martial arts. I see it in their face, all the time on TV, and I think that not having that in the mixed martial arts, if you didn't have jiu-jitsu in there, it definitely would not be known like it is now by any means. That's how it all came about. That was Horian's plan in coming up with the UFC, was that look how good jiu-jitsu is. And so yeah, it wouldn't be anywhere near what it is now without cage fighting, for sure. But there's different ways to train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. You can do it for cage fighting, for self-defense, for a street fight, competition, for fun. And each one's going to be different. And how you do it. You can do it with the gi on, with no gi. Just kind of depends on what you like. And I like that about Jiu-Jitsu because it's not just one thing and you have to do it this way. You can try. I like training with the gi on, and a lot of people have never put the gi on with jiu-jitsu. But that's what makes it so cool, is that you don't have to do what everybody else does. You can train it how you want to, But for sure, the mixed martial arts and cage fighting has helped get jiu-jitsu on the map by far.
What about Brent Primus? How long were you training with him? You brought him up to his black belt, right?
Yeah. So Brent, I remember Brent. I don't remember the year. It must have been 2002 or 3 or somewhere in there. He was a landscaper, and I remember he called me on the phone and wanted to train, and he didn't. I don't remember what it was. He came over and cut my yard or something, and I remember Brent came over to do the yard, and he got into it, started training, and I think he took a cage fight not too long after he started training. And he had some cage fights that would last 5 seconds or something ridiculous. I mean, pretty much go, hit, and the guy's down, knocked out. I think he had a couple of those, you know. I mean, he's just unreal, you know. A true talent for sure. Strong work ethic. Almost too much. You know, Brent's problem has been, you know, I think he just almost over pushes himself. I mean, you kind of like, man, don't you need a day off? And he's like, no, I'm going to go on a 10-mile run for this. And he just does like 1,000 pull-ups and push-ups a day. And he's training 2 or 3 times a day. I mean, this is like a daily thing, no time off, you know. But Brent's a true martial artist for sure, in all ways of the meaning. You know, he's a loyal guy. He's got a good head on his shoulders. He's polite. He's respectful. He has a strong work ethic. He's a unique individual, man. There's not too many people like Brent. You know, he's a unique specimen. I don't know what you say much about Brent. He's a beast, you know. I mean, like I said, he's had 5 professional fights, and all of them are first round knockouts or finishes. I mean, you know, fights in Bellator now, so it's like he's on the main stage, you know. So, but I remember taking him to Pan Am's as a blue belt, and even as a white belt, and him just going, you know, maybe 5 or 6 rounds deep into people, you know, and being exhausted. I remember a couple times he'd get done with the match and he'd be so tired, he'd roll under the fence, and we'd be trying to kick him back underneath, you know, to get back in the barrier where the mats are, to go again, Brent, go again. And we didn't think he'd have enough energy, but as soon as they slap hands, he'd all of a sudden get like a whole new win and then finish that guy and then come off the mat just exhausted. And we're like, man, how can he just keep doing this? You know, he's just a unique individual for sure. So,
You think he's going to go far?
I think so. I think he's going to be. I wouldn't be surprised if he's going to be Bellator's poster boy for a while. You know, here soon. I think that, you know, anything's possible. But you know, I think that if he keeps doing what he's doing, he's going to be known pretty widely. You know, fast. I'm sure. Yeah.
So you mentioned him having some traits of a martial artist. What do you think the qualities of a great martial artist are?
You know, more than anything, I think humility and confidence, and not being egotistical and not knowing you're that good, or maybe you feel that you can be that good, but not announcing to the world that you can be that good. And you know, just a genuine person that cares about other people and cares about themselves, and you know, remains positive and has a good respect for everything, and you know, knowing where they came from, whether it changes or not, you know, not forgetting where they started, you know, and paying respects to everybody that helped them get to where they're at, you know, and not even, you know. Not, a person should do that not even in the martial arts, you know, business-wise too. I mean, if you're somebody, you know, if you're at the top of the heap in one profession, you know, like who's all the people that sacrificed or helped you get there along the way, you know. It's tough to get good in martial arts if you're the only person that shows up in the gym and you're the only one standing there, right? So a lot of times people can kind of forget this, I think, and you know, there's a lot of people that are giving up their time and their energy and punches to the face and their arms and getting wrenched on and this, to help that person get better. And you know, for the person to go off and then just totally not give any kind of acknowledgement or respect or this, that to the team that brought them up, you know, it's you know. But Brent's never done that. I mean, most of the guys never done. I think that that's a big quality in martial arts, of a martial artist to have, you know, is that it takes a team of people to get a guy good. You can't just do it by yourself, you know. Definitely, you know, a lot of individual traits come into play, whether it's, you know, the stick-to-itiveness or the, you know, the confidence, and, you know, definitely they do something individually, but he has to have those two formulas meet. You know, you have to have a group of people that help kind of push that, you know, for you. So, but yeah, martial artists, a genuine martial artist, I think for sure is like the confidence, the discipline, the humility, the, you know, the caring for others, and not being a jackass and going out and starting fights with everybody. I mean, like I said before, it's really not about the fighting at a certain point.